we're going to have a little bit of a different schedule, and the movement is not going to be heat producing, so don't worry. But we're going to have a light, just movement, and then we're going to have a sit, and then we're going to take a break, and then Z's going to do a little bit of a different routine today. And yeah, so we'll just get started and see if maybe somebody else joins us along the way. Yeah, so we'll just get up if possible. If not, you can stay seated, of course, if you don't feel like participating in a standing form, or if you're not able to today. So we'll just begin just finding stillness on the earth. Just notice how you can just stand on the earth, finding a sense of stillness, maybe for the first 30 seconds or so. See if you can really come into a real place of stillness, and maybe with an intention not to have anything move at all, but your breath that flows through. Just allowing your body to settle and the breath to find its own rhythm. And just maybe noticing the aliveness of the body inside, even as you're coming to a sense of, or a place of stillness. And just noticing the heaviness of the body as you're grounding down through the feet. Allowing your muscles to be relaxed. Giving your whole body permission to be relaxed and be at ease. And just standing here however the body wants to stand. So you don't have to try to make too many adjustments or feel like, oh, well, I should be standing differently. Well, this is how the body would like to stand in this moment. Just becoming one with the breath as the breath breathes itself in and breathes itself out. And then notice in what places in the body you can sense a particular feeling of aliveness, where it's easiest to tune in. Yeah, there's a sense of sensations here going on in the body. Often that's the hand or the feet. So just noticing any tingling or vibrating. Maybe noticing the temperature in the body. Does it feel warm or cold? Maybe hot or cool? And then tuning into any sounds that you might perceive, any outer sounds or inner sounds. And just as you're receiving the body, just receive the sounds. And if it's comfortable, allow your eyes to stay closed. Maybe just soften your knees just a tad. And begin to move your arms back and forth, just swinging your arms. You can just peek for a moment if you're not sure what that means, to swing your arms back and forth in whatever which way. And you don't have to assert too much effort. Just let the arms swing lightly by the side of the body, back and forth. In meditation, we often use the breath as an anchor. And here in this mindful movement, we can just, in this moment, use the swinging of the arms back and forth as the anchor that keeps us grounded in the present moment. So just become one with the swinging of the arms back and forth. See if you can allow the eyes and facial muscles to stay soft as you do so. And notice if the mind is still connected with the movement of the arms or if it's wandered away. And just a gentle reminder to the mind to stay connected with the movement as best as you can. And then very slowly come back to stillness. And just feel the transition from the movement to the stillness, allowing the body to integrate the movement. And then when your next in-breath comes, you can bring your arms out to the side and then lift them all the way up, maybe gazing up towards your ceiling. And then exhale, palms come together as you draw them back down towards the midline, down towards the belly. Inhale, reach out and up, lifting your chin. And then exhale, slowly descending through the midsection of the body. As you inhale next time, really feel that nice opening at the heart, at the lungs, gazing up. And then exhale, drawing back down towards the heart center. We'll do it a couple more times. Inhaling up. And then exhale slowly down. One last time, inhaling out to the side, reaching up. Exhaling down towards the heart center again. And then just let your arms relax for a moment by the side of the body again. As you inhale, breathe your arms out to the side. And then as you exhale, wrap your arms around the torso, placing the palms on the shoulder blades and back. Inhale, reach out again, out to the side, stretching the heart open. And exhaling, rounding a little bit forward as you give yourself a hug. Maybe relaxing the chin down towards the chest. Inhaling up and out. And then exhaling a hug, drawing back inwards towards your heart. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhaling out to the side. And exhale, coming, rounding slightly forward, giving yourself a hug. Last one, inhale. And exhale. And this time, just stay rounded forward. Have your hands placed on your shoulder blades. Just massaging your shoulders slightly in back with your hands. And then find more of an upright position and just place your hands in the back of your neck and give yourself a nice massage in the back of your neck. And then we're going to tap in the center of the chest with all the fingertips. And then you can make fists and just knock your head, awakening more towards the practice. As you lean more forward, you can place the tops of the hands into the lower back and then pummel into the lower back. So another nice massage to open the kidneys. And then bring your hands down the legs, behind the legs, in the back of the legs, and then come back up to the inside of the legs. Just tapping the belly. And then bring your thumbs into the inside of the eyes, the eye creases, and just let the other fingers stay straight up. Just slightly pressing in. Breathing still consciously. And then with your pointer fingers out by the temples, just lightly pressing into that spot. And then below and behind the ears, there's a nice spot where you can press in. And then in the cheek area, just press. And we'll just take 2 fingers to press right below the nostrils, above the upper lip, press down in there. And then just slightly pressing up the chin with one of the thumbs, just slightly stretching the chin upwards. And just slowly release. Let's take a minute or so just to shake out the body very softly, very gently, maybe consciously releasing any tension from the body. Let this movement be extra gentle this evening. Maybe feeling the tension releasing from the head, in the chest, the hips, the legs, and the feet. Maybe shaking out the hands in front of you a few rounds just to relax the fingers and the wrists and the arms, maybe shaken a little bit more vigorously. And then very mindfully come back to stillness once again, keeping a slight bend in the knees just to keep that softness in the body. And taking a moment just to allow the breath to find its natural rhythm once more after the exertion. When you feel ready, very slowly, find your seat again the way that we started a few minutes ago. So maybe see if you can take every step mindfully to make your way back to your seat. And we'll have a full half an hour meditation this evening. So take your time just to set yourself up for this practice, however you like to sit, whatever posture you would like to assume this evening for your practice. It can be a sitting posture, it can be a lying down posture, whatever feels right to you. Welcome, Denise. It's nice to see you. So with your eyes still open, just find a soft gaze, a soft one-pointed gaze in front of you. And just take a moment before you close your eyes to just take in what's in your visual field. everything that you can notice in the room that you're sitting in without actually moving your head around, keeping that soft, one-pointed gaze. And then moving your awareness all the way out to the periphery of your vision. Stretching the eyes out that way and just noticing what you can see in your visual field at the periphery of your vision. And then if you would like to drop in a little bit more, you can gently close your eyes or keep them slightly open, whatever is your preference this evening. Just making that slow transition from outer busyness to inner awareness. Feeling the weight of your body as you're sitting here. And just taking a moment to become more fully aware to the lower part of your body as you allow your buttocks to really relax down into your seat. And feeling that pressure of the buttock as you're seated here. And if there's any obvious tension in your hips, see if you can relax out the tension now, helping you ground down a little bit more. The legs can relax, and the feet can soften. Your hands and arms resting easily. And if you'd like to find a little bit more of a lift through your spine, maybe you can facilitate that now to help you stay more alert throughout the practice. So perhaps slightly stretching the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And at the same time, still allowing the shoulders to stay relaxed. Maybe the chin slightly downwards, so that the back of the neck can be loose as well. And notice if there's any obvious tension in your eyes and facial muscles. And just softening to the extent that you can in that area. And take a moment just to see if you detect any sensations inside the body at this moment. See if there's any tingling or vibrating, swirling. Maybe noticing what areas of the body feel tight. And then notice if there's other parts of the body that feel loose and relaxed. See if you can also connect to the spaciousness inside your body. Maybe taking in consciously all the spaciousness that exists inside of your body. As if you're taking a walk from room to room inside your body and just noticing how much space can open up as you open the door to each room. Notice the quality of your breath in this moment. Perhaps noticing the length of the breath, if it's short or long, if it feels tight or relaxed, smooth or rough. And just letting the breath be itself without interference as best as you can. And see for this practice if you can imagine that you're living inside your breath in the body. Just feeling the gentle rise and fall of the body with each breath. And then imagining that it's slowly becoming nighttime. The sun is setting now. And you're just opening up to a big, vast sky above you. And just opening up through the crown of the head and allowing your body to open to this vast sky all around you. More and more, your nervous system can calm and relax. And you're taking in the cooling energies of the universe at night. And as best as you can, tune into who you really are. When you leave all the expectations, all the messages, all the pressures, if you leave that all behind for this time of meditation, just sitting here with a sense of appreciation for your breath, for your body, for your being. And I invite you to use this inquiry for the rest of the practice this evening. Who am I? And it's not a cognitive inquiry, it's simply a question to your own being, not to your head. The simple, who am I? Not needing to have an answer, but having the emphasis be on the question. And you choose how often you would like to repeat the inquiry throughout this practice. It can be consistently or just another time, several more times. Just allow your being to guide you to when it's time to ask again. this who am I? See if you can go deeper and deeper with it. Maybe finding your way into layers of yourself that you don't normally go into. What do you discover there in the places that you normally don't seek within yourself? And like we practiced in the standing, in the movement meditation, see if you can come more and more into a place of stillness in your body to allow you to dive in a little bit more deeply. And what's the landscape like in this deeper place of you? See what you notice there, what you find there. And notice if there's a sense of belonging there or a strange feeling. Notice if it's a place where you feel you can relax. Does it feel familiar or unfamiliar? And can you go deeper yet, deeper into deeper layers of yourself? And see if you have the courage to keep going, maybe even into unfamiliar territory. Do you feel solid or groundless there? And ask yourself again, who am I? And can you find that place inside of you where there's no heat and no cold? Where there's no this, no that? Just being. No right, no wrong. No happy, no sad. Just is. And just imagine that your brain is deeply relaxing, that you're really slowing down the activity in the brain along with the body that's sitting here relaxed. Just smoothing out the brain, relaxing the brain. relaxing the movement in the brain. Feeling into the spaciousness of the brain. What's it like to be still? What's it like not to engage with the usual thoughts and opinions and beliefs, and just rest in stillness? What's it like not to have to think the next thought? What's it like to empty this vessel and at the same time be completely connected to everything? And notice how the thoughts want to reassemble themselves, how the ego has a need to assert itself again. To make sure it's still there. And so see if you can deliberately let go of the thoughts again, to feel that spaciousness once more in your body, in your mind, in your brain. Just being spacious. And as best as you can, not attached to the ego, to this need to assert its existence. And you can notice how there is a constant need of becoming over and over again. And at least in this practice, in this tradition, we have the opportunity to practice letting go again and again. And just being. What a relief. And if there's restlessness or thoughts, opinions, judgments asserting themselves, that's okay. We're just on the path of awakening. And we can take refuge in this practice as often as we can, of not needing to be anyone, and yet being connected with everything. And see, maybe for the remainder of the meditation, just ask yourself, what would be the benefit of going back to being the person that you've always known to be? How does it serve you? And what might it be like to open at least a tiny door to what seems or feels unknown to you about yourself? What would that be like? And wherever you are, get a sense of groundedness again on your seat, feeling connected to your seat. Feeling connected to your body. And feeling connected to your heart in the center of your chest. And we offer the benefits of this sitting time to all beings everywhere, seen and unseen, visible and invisible. And we wish for the well-being of everyone in this universe and in all universes. We will meet again at 7:32.
I'm just waiting for Linda. There she is. So there's going to be a little bait and switch tonight. Bettina had said that I was going to do something different, and I was. You're not hearing me? Okay, let me see if the built-in microphone. Yeah, Bruce
I was
is
hearing
going
you.
like that.
I was hearing you.
I'm hearing you just a teeny bit louder is all I was asking.
Okay, I'll bring the computer closer to me. So there was a plan to do something different, but I was so inspired by Bettina's meditation, which was amazing, that I'm going to abandon the plan. And I want to stay on the theme of who am I? And I'm going to just kind of stream of consciousness talk a little bit about some of the Buddhist ideas about it. Maybe it'll be a short talk. Maybe it'll be a collective talk. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I really felt like that we got brought into such a deep place of that precious non-selfness that it deserved to. We deserve to linger in it a while longer. So, I mean, if you've spent any time with Buddhist theory at all, you know that non-self is one of the core teachings. And we've mentioned it here before. There's the 3 characteristics that the Buddha spoke about. Suffering or dukkha, impermanence or anicca, and lack of a kind of fixed, abiding self, Anata. And while the pith teaching on the Four Noble Truths is that, there's suffering and then there's a cause of suffering, and the cause of suffering is considered to be craving. But I always kind of look deeper into that. And, in the yoga teachings, they say that the cause of suffering is avidya, ignorance. And I don't feel like there's that much difference, because I feel like what the Buddha was telling us is that if you're ignorant of the 3 characteristics, you're going to crave. You're going to want to have a sense of satisfaction. You're going to want things that are inherently impermanent to be fixed and reliable. And you're going to want this being that we call ourselves to be something that we can count on, that we can define, that we can hold on to. And none of that is true. And so we suffer. And I'm reminded of Ajahn Chah, a teacher in this lineage. A lot of the big Western teachers, Joseph Goldstein, Jack Kornfield, Sharon Salzberg, a lot of the teachers that brought Buddhism to America were students of Ajahn Chah, and maybe even monks in his monastery. And he has a beautiful quote that I may be paraphrasing because I don't remember it verbatim, but it's something like, Let go a little and know a little peace. Let go a lot, know a lot of peace. Let go completely and know complete peace and freedom. And, there's so many things that we're supposed to let go of. That's one of the other core teachings of Buddhism is letting go or letting be, allowing. But I feel like the shortest path to knowing peace in terms of what you can let go of is letting go of the self. So if you found during that meditation, there were at least moments where there was no discernible self, you notice that those were the moments where there's the most peace. And that's not just true in meditation, that's true in life, that as we move through life, we're so identified with our beliefs, like Bettina spoke about last week, and our sense of belonging. We're so desperate because things are impermanent, because there's no self, because things are unsatisfactory. We're so desperate to feel a sense of belonging. And as Bettina pointed to in the meditation, it is when we actually let go of those things that are scary to let go of. But it's when we let go of those things that we feel the most connected, that the sense of belonging isn't about, oh, I'm like you, or I fit into this group, or my personality matches this personality. It's the connectedness that comes from letting go of all the definitions. It's the connectedness that comes from the spaciousness of the absence of the definitions. So, when I'm nothing and you're nothing, then we're the same. And as soon as I add, if there's a drop of water mixed in with another drop of water, it's just water. There's no differentiation. But if we mix oil and vinegar, then there's disconnect. So the more we put impurities in that water, the more we make ourselves separate from that which is pure. And I really got that sense during the meditation that as I got more and more into a sense of there was no self, to the extent that I can feel this in my body or this in my heart or this in my mind that was not that was not non-self, I felt them as like invaders, like impurities, like there's this pure vessel, there's this pure consciousness that's connected to all that is, and everything that is there that makes me forget that makes me feel like I'm not connected to that vast nothingness, that vast openness. None of that is me. It's just the conditioning or the beliefs or the darkness or the ego or whatever. And um, it doesn't serve us, and yet we cling to it so much in the belief that it does. I feel like it maybe for all of us to look at, like, how does it serve us? I think Bettina asked that question toward the end. How does it serve us to hold on to the identities that we have created for ourselves or that others have created for us, that we've bought into? And And to take a look also at how does it serve us to free ourselves from those identities and what is standing in our way. Because on some level, I think we know how it feels and the benefits of freeing ourselves from all those constrictions, because that's what they are, but what stops us? What are the hindrances to letting go of all those pieces of the puzzle that is our identity? Because it's so clear that every war, every illness, everything that's wrong with the world is born out of this desire to identify. Every group that fights another group because they believe differently, because they pray differently, because they look differently, because they love differently. Every single bit of war, of hatred, is born out of identity. So why are we so interested in having an identity? I know that most of our identity is it's just conditioning. It's it's beliefs, it's stories, it's cultural, it's sociological, it's anthropological, it's familial, all of it. And none of it would be a problem if we didn't think that that's who we were. Like, it's not a problem to have an ethnic influence in our lives. It's not a problem to have, beliefs. It's not a problem to have preferences. It's not a problem to feel different than someone else. The problem comes when we start to believe that these things are real, that they matter, that they're true, that they're who we are. I can have a preference and it doesn't even need to cause me suffering if I don't identify with it. I might prefer that the weather be humid, or I might prefer that the weather be dry. But if I feel like I am this person who needs to be in dry climate in order to feel well, then on a day like today, I suffer. But if I recognize, oh, I have a preference for dry climate, and I actually don't, but whatever. If I recognize, hypothetically, I have a preference for dry climate, then I could see, okay, that's a preference. And I don't need to care. Really, like, I can notice this is a preference, and I can notice, oh, interesting. On a day like today, my preference has some friction. My preference is going against the reality. And then I can say, so am I going to fight reality because it disagrees with my preference? Or am I going to understand, okay, I've created an identity around this preference so that I feel threatened, and I can let that go. I can just notice unpleasant. That's it, unpleasant. There's no self in unpleasant. It's just, there's heat. The Buddha spoke so much about heat and how much he likened freedom to coolness. So even the Buddha, I think, really felt like there was a preference for cool versus heat. There's so many metaphors where he uses coolness to allude to freedom. And I imagine at that time in India, it was pretty darn hot and it wasn't pleasant. And yet I don't think he suffered because of the heat. And it all comes down to that piece of identifying with how I feel, how I prefer, how I like, how I look, how I want, all of that. It just creates so much misery. So much misery. And when we can sit and just feel like, who am I really? I'm not my preferences. I'm not my beliefs. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not this body. At some point early on in Bettina's meditation, I was feeling into who I am, and my body felt so kind of swishy and liquid and kind of amorphous. And I was feeling like, oh yeah, there's just this kind of mush. There's just this matter that isn't me. But then I took it deeper as she encouraged us to go deeper and realize that this matter, that this tissue, that this flesh, that's not me either. And then when I had to realize, oh, okay, the moment that my consciousness leaves this body, there's still going to be all this flesh. And there isn't going to be a self that has anything to do with that flesh. The flesh clearly isn't me. So I have to look deeper. And, in my case, I felt like the closest I can come to identifying a sense of self was just consciousness. And then it just created so much peace in the awareness, for me at least, that consciousness isn't my consciousness. Consciousness is just consciousness. And that made me feel connected to everything. And consciousness sees and hears and smells and tastes and feels. And then it's just the Vedana that gets added in, the pleasant, the unpleasant, and the neutral that gets added in to the consciousness. And then there's the liking and the disliking and the neutral, that starts to create more of a sense of self, that starts to create more of a suffering. And we don't have to buy into that. And that's the beauty of mindfulness, is that we can recognize, oh, seeing is happening, hearing is happening, tasting is happening, smelling is happening, sensing is happening, feeling is happening. And when there's an unpleasant something, event at the sense door, if we stay with just the consciousness and don't get caught up in the preference, the like, the dislike, the hot, the cold, all of that, that's part of the self, then we just stay in consciousness and we just notice whatever comes and goes and flows through the awareness. And we don't suffer. And we don't ever feel the need to, be in groups and be in, cliques and be in all these things that we long for in order to feel connected, that really just separate us. Because everybody that's not in the group is an other. And other is such a suffering place to live in. So I think that's all I'm going to say. And I feel like maybe for our counsel, we can talk about those kind of questions that I was posing earlier, and Bettina, to some extent, was also posing earlier about, why do you think that we create this self? And what do you think you believe, on the mundane level? What do you think you believe the benefits are that makes it enticing to identify with this self? And what do you think the benefits are of not identifying with a self? And if you know those, what stands in your way? So I'll just say that again. So why do you think, and I'm not talking like, esoterically, but you personally, what do you feel the goodies are in having this self? And to the extent that you recognize that the self creates suffering, what do you think prevents you from letting that go? So I leave you with those questions. And of course, as always, if there's anything that that you really feel called to speak about on the subject, ideally, that's not directly in response to the question, you're welcome to. And I'm just going to go off screen for a minute because I need to plug in my charger. And of course, just unmute yourself if you feel called to talk. Oh, and I did want to say, it's 7:56, and in deference to everybody's time and everybody's share, we have decided that we're going to allot a fixed period of time. I've already spoken, so that just leaves 4 of you, and there's 30 minutes. So we have probably like about 7.5 minutes each. And if it looks like you're getting to the end of your time, I'm going to just respectfully ring the bell, not to hopefully send a message that you've done anything wrong, but just as a mindfulness bell that it's time to wrap it up. And I'll ring the bell like with a little bit of leeway so that you can finish your sentence and so forth.
I think I'm gonna start tonight. I think I went through I know I went through several years of holding on to old identities, and Z had to live through that with me. I made a decision at some point to close out an old career, or careers rather, that I had pursued for many, many years. And then it was really clear to me that that was no longer serving me. However, after I came back from a long retreat, which I hoped at the time would really usher me into a new phase of my life, very quickly I was overcome by fear. and maybe, who would I be without this, that I'd never known anything else, what would I need to do to not be that? And then there were financial fears and so forth. And it was really kind of a time, or some years of agony, of just really, it kind of became a sort of addiction to just be on the computer and look for these same old types of jobs again that fit my educational background and so forth. And I think what made me, what the goodie was, what was there for me is that, well, at least if I do these things, I know what to expect. At least if I pursue these things again, I'm gonna have a sense of safety in the world. I can find myself again in the world. And I think it's really only been, I don't know, maybe less than a year that I've really found the courage finally to just have a real visceral sense of letting go of that. And I have to say I'm somewhat privileged with that, because financially the universe brought me that sense of security, that I could just relax and really take the time to investigate who am I. But I do have to say that I don't think it's actually, if I look deeper, I don't think it actually has to do with financial security or not. I think that we might think that it does, but I think at a deeper level, it really doesn't. It's just that there was a readiness to let go. And I don't think it's really attached to, well, I had the resources to really let go, because I had the resources then, but I wasn't ready. So I feel like to my being, it just has a whole lot to do with fear, and my practice having helped to slowly bring me to a place where I can just let go of that grip of the fist and just really open more and more and more and more to the unknown. And in the meditation tonight, I was reconnected once again, just, what's the goodie in letting go? The goodie in letting go and not knowing, this place of not knowing that for so long I sensed as this place of terror, like, who am I when I let go of these identities or whatever? But in reality, when I feel into it, it's just such a place of freedom. It's just such a place of freedom. The unknowing is actually such a relief, to let go of the beliefs, to let go of the identities, to let go of the stories, to let go of, do I prefer hot or cold? Do I prefer humid or or dry, as he was alluding to? It's oh my God, to not have that, such a sense of freedom. And it's a real practice to not over and over again get trapped in that, the need to know, the need to have a preference. It's a real practice, and with the deep sense of loving kindness and gentleness, I think it's a path that's deepening for me. I think the gentleness and the kindness and the non-judgment towards this being is really what allows me to deepen into the unknown, into the space of the unknown, and especially also this place of pure being versus doing. Such a place of freedom to not have to do. And do, I think, really can, when I speak of doing versus being, I think I'm talking more as a mindset. Is my mind constantly doing, or can my mind simply be? It doesn't necessarily have to do with physical doing necessarily. But this place of letting go just has such a place of freedom, true freedom.
Thank you. Record it. So we will sit and we will say to ourselves, I am, whatever your name is, sitting here. And we'll just start with that. And then I'll tell you what happens next. So however you want to sit, if you want to close your eyes, please do. Maybe feel the weight of your body sitting so that the sitting is really experiential, not just theoretical in the words. I am blank sitting here. And now we're going to take off the last word, the word here, and continue with the mantra without the word here. And now remove the word sitting. Now remove your name. And remove the word am. And remove the final word.
Thank you. That was really profound for me.